Okay, hey, what's up, everybody? This is Angela, or Aleda, as some of you know me as. So I just wanted to make a video for you guys and explain to you why all of a sudden I am just this like super Jesus freak now. 'Cause I know some of you guys are probably wondering like, what's up with Ange? Like what's happened to her? So I just wanted to like make this like video testimony as to what's happening with me and trying to make it as fast as I can. But I encourage you that, if you're my friend and if you truly love me, I ask that you just bear with me for a few minutes and let me explain to you what's happening, because the points that I want to make to you they're not just spiritual, they are logical points to me. And these are the things that I have realized throughout my life that has led me to Christ. And growing up, like I needed some kind of proof. I hate to say that, but I needed something else. Like I've been very, very blessed, and I've always known the Father. Like ever since I was a very, very little girl, I've always been blessed by His presence of knowing that there is a God. But accepting Jesus was always something that kind of like I needed a little more than my mom and dad telling me and my CCD teacher telling me that that there was this kid that came here and then turned into this man and then died, and I just didn't get it. So I needed some logical explanation. So that's what I have to present to you guys with. So if you could bear with me, I'm going to make a couple points as to why I choose Jesus and why you won't ever see the old Angela again. So, all right. So the first point that I have to make is like goes back to when I was first saved. My first point that I kind of experienced was the stirring of my heart, and why not? That's like a combination. So, when I was a kid, and even to this day, like I've always been just like this like open, loving, peaceful person, like you guys know that about me. I accept and I love everybody just because like it just feels like the right thing to do. So, when I was first saved, it wasn't like this big thing. It was just like, well, why not? Why don't you get saved? And I was presented with this book, and I was on a plane, and I read it, and that's exactly what the book said. It said, well, why not? So as soon as I stepped off that plane, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna give my life to Christ. Why not? Why? What am I holding back? And you know, it kind of dawned on me at the time that you know that we're so quick to accept everybody else and everything else. And if I'm making this video to you about Buddhism, if like the title of this video is perspectives on Buddha or whatever, like you'd probably watch it because hey, that's interesting. Or if I do some sort of a higher power connection video or something, then you'd probably give it a chance. But as soon as like you'd realize that this is about Jesus, like a lot of us would be quick to turn it off. And why is that? So you need to really examine that. And now that I'm looking back, I know now that that stirring of the heart is that's the sin in our life. That's the darkness in our heart. And so that's something to kind of look at. Like, why are we so quick to say no? And what's so different? What's so different about Jesus? There's something majorly different about Jesus. So that's that. And then my second point is comes from the movie Courageous. And if you have not seen Courageous, I highly, highly recommend it, especially if you are a father or a parent or anyone. Just watch Courageous. Go watch it. It's incredible. But there's this one scene where the one of the main characters is explaining to this rookie cop that God is the just judge, and if there is a murder committed and everyone knows that the murder happened and the murderer gets off free, we are all going to be so angry, right? So there is a payment that needs to be made for the crimes that are committed. Like we want that murderer to go to jail. Like he has to pay for what he did. Like, well, God needs us to pay for, there has to be payment for all the things that we do. And, guys, I'm not just talking about the Ten Commandments here. I mean, those, yes, but I'm also talking about being obedient to the Lord and doing what He wants us to do, and not going against our conscience. Like, sin is not just the Ten Commandments. Sin is every single time you do something that is wrong. Okay, like every time, like if it's you get wasted, you get drunk, and even your body is just like breaking down and telling, like your body is saying, "Why did you do this to me?" And somewhere in your heart, like I probably shouldn't have drank that much, or you have any kind of an addiction, like you light up a cigarette, like you know what, you shouldn't be doing that. Your body is supposed to house the temple, like it's supposed to be the temple of God. It's supposed to house the Holy Spirit. It's supposed to house Christ, and you have got to let those things go and really listen to that voice that is inside of you that's telling you this is wrong. Like, or may think it's not a big deal to swear, and you're cursing like a truck driver, but then there's this small child that all of a sudden is in the room, and all of a sudden you feel guilty. Well, why do you feel guilty? It's because you're not supposed to be doing that. These are sins that the Bible does tell us about in Scripture, way past the chapter of the Ten Commandments. So, and I guarantee you, like, if you listen to those things and you become obedient, then God will reveal all of His grace to you and all His love to you, and it's a beautiful thing. So, the judge sends us is just. The judge is just, and there is a payment that's made, and that is through Christ. He is the ultimate payment for all the sins. That's that point. My next point, I think I have like 2 more points to make, is that, why we have to go through Christ to get to the Father. Okay, well, imagine for a minute you have this child, okay? And this child is perfect. Like, you've been blessed with a perfect kid. And he or she goes to school with all these bad kids, okay? And that kid ends up having to die so that all these other kids live. He or she makes this sacrifice that is extremely painful, so that all these other kids can live. And that's what Jesus has done for us. And, like say one of those bad kids tries to come and talk to you, and you're the parent of this child that died this horrible, terrible death. Like, you're going to be angry, right? Like, you're going to be like, no, sorry. Like, if you want to get to me, you better go talk to him first, because he's the one that died for you. Okay, so if you want to talk to me, you have to go through him first. So that makes complete sense to me, why we have to go through the Son to get to the Father. Another point that I have is that, God gets down to our level. Like, we are always trying to help our children when they are suffering and when they're hurting, when they're crying. Like if your kid comes home from school, or even if your friend is just like, oh my gosh, this awful thing happened to me, like, if it's a small child, you physically get down to their level, right? Like to console them. And if it's a friend, you try to like spiritually and match them and get to where they're at to help console them. So it's like God has done that with us. God made all of us, and He made this huge world and all these things, and we were crying out to Him. We were like, we need you here. Like, where are you? Please come to us. So God did that. He came here, and He walked with us. He He did everything the way we do. He had dreams. He laughed. He ate food. He probably caught a cold. Like, he was a human being. Like, he went through all these experiences. So it's like, for the Creator to come down and to be one of us and to get at our level, like we do it in our everyday life. So how much more would God do for us? And I love that Jesus gives us that story about how much more does your Father love you, who is in heaven. Like if a kid asks for bread, you're not gonna give him a rock, like, right? So yes, of course God came here, and of course He was a human being with us. So it's like, yeah, He did. He came here, and it's like. And finally, my last point is that, if I'm your friend, if you know me, if you know who Angela is, and if you trust me, like, you'll try this. You just try this because you've got nothing to lose. And it's almost like I am, I've got this tape cassette here, but let's just pretend for a minute, like this tape cassette is full of the most incredible music that you will ever hear in your entire life. It's not like any other genre. it is like, it is life changing, you guys. You have got to listen to this music. This is like the bomb. It's gonna go viral. Once it's uploaded, it's gonna like take over the world. There's gonna be a dance made. There's gonna be videos made. There'll be parodies made. Like, you have to check out this music. It's amazing, right? Like, if I was to physically hand you this thing, you know, you'd probably ask for a digital format, but you would take it, right? You would listen to it and you would check it out. And so, you know, this is so much bigger than that. Or like, if I'm working and I've been working in a kitchen and I love it, if I make this amazing dish, now all of a sudden I'm being creative and I've got time and I make this thing and I scoop up a spoonful of it and I say, you guys got to try this. This is amazing. This is an incredible combination. Please, like, give it a taste. You would, right? You would taste it. So I'm asking you to try it. I'm asking you to just trust me on this one and just, you know, give it a chance, because it's so much bigger than anything you'll ever experience in your life. God's grace and favor is the it is the greatest gift. Salvation is the greatest gift. And you guys, like, this stuff is not just made up stuff. You know, this isn't stuff that I hope is true. It's stuff that I know for a fact is true. Like, heaven and hell are real places. There is a hell, and if you're distant from God now, I encourage you to get to know him. You know, like, heaven forbid something happened to you and you feel the life leaking from your body. Like, what are you going to do? Who are you going to cry out to? You know, do you want to get to know God then when you're dying? Or do you want to get to know him now while you're living? So I would really think about that. And I encourage you with so much love, because if you're watching this, then you are my friend, and I do love you and I care about you. So I'm asking you to try it. And what have you got to lose, you know? In my darkness, when I strayed from the Lord after I was first saved, because a man in my life committed suicide and I was completely devastated. He was somebody I thought I was going to marry. I was very deeply in love with him. And even though we were distant at the time, you guys remember Drew, some of you who are watching this, you know, it just shook my whole world. But in my darkness, in my stray from the Lord, I tried to fill that hole with so many other things that just didn't work, you guys. None of it works, you know. It's all false filling, you know. It's a false filling. They're like cavities. It's like things that get stuck in your heart, and then they rot, and then they just turn the heart bad. It doesn't work. So I'm telling you, please just trust me on this one. Try Christ, try Jesus, because why not? Why not? So thank you for watching this video. I know it was a little long, but I love you all, and I pray that this reaches all of you. If you're watching, I pray that it reaches your heart, and that you find it in your heart to say yes and to try and to grab a Bible and, you know, just read it. You know, what have you got to lose? You've got nothing to lose. All you will do is gain. I promise you. And if you ever want to talk to me about this video, or, you know, you guys know how to reach me, call me or email me or whatever. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and talk soon. All right. Bye.